Welcome, everybody, to the RaulyKnows podcast. Today, we have a very special guest. Today, with me, we have...
Me, Daniela.
Daniela. So, we have Daniela. So for the people that are listening or watching that don't know who Daniela is, you want to speak a little bit more about yourself, like maybe what you do, so people can actually know who you are and stuff.
So, my name is Daniela, but I go by Danny. So either one is cool with me. I was born in Mexico City.
Okay.
Represent to all my people from La Ciudad de Mexico. It's very rare to meet people from there. I feel like everybody's from like Guadalajara or like from Jalisco. So shout out to all my people from La Ciudad de Mexico. I was pretty much raised here all my life. I came here when I was 4 and I never left.
How old are you now?
I am 25. I'm a quarter of a century.
Yeah, you're pretty old.
I'm not that old. I'm at my peak, like Bad Bunny says.
How do you I love that song, by the way. But okay, so being said, okay, so 25, you feel like that's a good age. Do you feel 25?
Absolutely. I feel young enough, but not old enough. So I feel like that's what 25 is all about. Like, you're not too old, but you're not a 20-year-old either. So
right. You know, the reason why I asked that is because when I was 21, I felt 21. Like, I'm like, bro, this is lit. Like, I finally feel like I'm at that age I'm supposed to be. And then now I'm 27.
Old.
Yeah, I'm old. But I don't feel 27. Like, I feel like I'm still like 21.
I feel that.
But in like other stuff, like just age, like I feel like I have matured and all that. But that's what I mean by that. Like, what do you mean?
I feel like I mature when it comes to like bills and work and responsibilities. But when the sun goes down, I'm 21 all over again.
Okay, so that's a good answer.
I like to go out and really enjoy my 20s because this wise lady once told me, she's like, you are at your prime right now. You will never get to relive what you're living right now. You have no responsibilities, meaning you have no children. I don't even have a dog. I don't have a man. I am just me, myself, and I do whatever I want every day. So damn. I really am living my best life.
That's the wrong one. Okay. That's actually a really good answer. I feel like people should like be happy and kind of own up to the responsibility because you are right. We are getting older and we need to man up to certain things.
Yeah, I know. It sneaks up on you. One day you're 21 clubbing and the next day you have rent and bills and you have to pay for car insurance, which is a lot. And you think that when you turn 25, it's going to go down, and it doesn't. It goes down by a little bit. And I'm like, well, I thought I was going to get a whole ass discount.
I know, right? All right. So where exactly, okay, you're from the FA. You're both your parents are Mexican, right?
Yes.
So you're Mexican?
Fully.
Let's see, what else can we know about you? What month were you born in?
I was born in January.
You're Aquarius.
I am an Aquarius.
I'm Aquarius too, but I was born in February.
I know you're a February Aquarius.
What does that mean though? I don't really understand.
You know, honestly, I don't really know either.
Okay, good.
I just know that we're both in different months, but we still represent the same sign. That's awesome.
All right. So, where exactly did we meet?
So you and I met at Bardot.
Yeah, Bardot. Shout out to Bardot.
Shout out to Aria. You were a cook and I was a hostess. And we worked there. I worked there for about 2 years almost.
Right, I was there for 5.
Yeah, you were there longer.
I was there for 5.
But I remember going in the kitchen and being like, Raul, get me some food.
I'm hungry.
I'd be like, I'm hungry. You'd be like, nah, I can't do anything for you today. I'd be like, come on, please.
Yeah,
I would. Okay, let me see what I can do.
The easiest thing to give you was bread and butter here.
I know. I literally lived off bread and butter for those 6-hour shifts.
It was so fun. But yeah, so being that I met you in the hospitality environment, we later kind of reconnected in college.
Yeah, we both studied hospitality.
So we both went to UNLV. How was your time in UNLV? So you studied hospitality. How was your time there?
It was good. It was I was at UNLV for 4 years, and it was a lot of. It felt like I was finally in college. I did CSM, which was community college, for 2 years, which felt weird. It was, you just go to class, you get in your car and you leave. Then I got to UNLV and it was a whole different story. It felt like I was in a movie almost, because I joined a sorority and I was in Greek life and I was partying it up and, you know, going to school. So it was really fun. I really enjoyed my years at UNLV, and I honestly feel like I'm going to remember them for the rest of my life. But school's hard. I'm not a schoolgirl. I was not your typical A+ student. I struggled. So
no, believe me when I tell you that I struggled as well. And it was mostly because, well, you worked too. Mm-hmm. And were you working like part-time or full-time?
No, I always worked full-time.
Full-time.
And I was always a student full-time.
Yeah, so kudos to you. I know how it is because I did the same thing. And when you say that, like, it's very difficult because you don't have enough time to study. And obviously we're kids at the time.
Oh, yeah.
So we're trying to have fun, have a social life, and be in, like, probably a relationship if you're in one. But anything that you take away from going to college that you could just tell the listeners, that maybe like the way that you connected with people that you're always gonna like know forever, or like the networking that you did, that if it still like applies to you today, like do you still talk to people that kind of help you with your business or with you being the way you are?
Yeah, I feel like honestly the best advice I could give people is just be yourself, because I was myself 110%, and that's how I was able to network with people. And I know quite a few people just because of I'm very social and I'm not shy, and I just feel like it's very important for if you want to network and eventually expand your business, you got to network and you got to have some social skills. So I feel like I learned that as soon as I hit college. I was very shy growing up, and then once college hit, I feel like I blossomed. And because of that, because I made so many connections in college, probably 90% of my clientele right now are people that I met in college.
Oh, wow.
So I think social skills are very important, and make those connections, and just put yourself out there and don't be shy, and just say hello to the person next to you. You never know what that person could do for you.
Exactly. Or what you could do for them, or vice versa. But I remember like you left, like you were at Bordeaux for like 2 years and then you left. Where did you go? Like you were still at Aria, but where'd you go?
Yeah. So I went right downstairs to the Aria Wedding Chapel, and I was there for another 2 years. So
were you happy there? Like, is that what you wanted to do?
Yes. So at that time, I was studying at UNLV, studying hospitality with a concentration in meetings and events. So I was like, okay, I want to do something that has to do with events. So I applied at the Wedding Chapel. I thought it seemed interesting. I got the position as the admin. So the admin position was pretty much /receptionist/assistant. So I would help with the weddings. I would help with contracts, all the paperwork, all the boring stuff I did. But I absolutely loved it, because a typical Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday for me was somebody's most important day of their life, which was their wedding. Yeah. So it was very fun, and I got to experience some cool things, and being a part of somebody's like biggest day of their life is like really cool, but it's also a lot of pressure, because
you can't mess anything up.
Yeah, you can't mess anything up. To me, I'm just going into work 9 to 5, and I may be tired that day. I don't know. And that person may want a million things, and you have to do it, and you have to put a smile on your face. And even though the bride may be going crazy, you just have to push through. And then after those 8 hours, I'm like, that was exhausting, and it was just Tuesday. So
your day will go by pretty quickly.
It did. Some days we had slow days, of course. There was slow season where people don't get married as often in December, so December was always a slow month. But then like October, oh my God, there was chaos. So many weddings a day. I think the most we were able to do was about 6 weddings in one day, and they were always back to back.
Oh, crap.
And it was running in heels, and then this wedding was at the chapel, and the other wedding was at the pool, and then they had a reception at Bordeaux. So I was all over the entire property, and
that's cool.
It was chaotic sometimes.
That sounds like almost like what people would explain. I mean, it's kind of like overwhelming to say, but like a dream job in a sense, right? Because like you're at where you kind of want to be at, but you have room to grow, and it's kind of difficult to get into, but you're in it. But one thing I did want to ask you, is it true that Kobe Bryant's sister worked there? Like, did she work at the wedding thing?
Did she? I don't know. I wish I could know.
Oh, okay. So it's probably
no, I want to know.
Probably the wrong place.
No, I'm curious about that.
So, okay, so being that, you graduated from UNLV too, right?
Yes, I did. I graduated in fall of 2019, so not too long ago, but I did it.
How was that? Like, how'd you feel? Was there a sense of accomplishment, a sense of relief? Like, what's going on?
It was, honestly, I thought it was going to be all of those things. And then I woke up and our graduation was on a Tuesday at 4 p.m. And it was in the winter. So it wasn't really what I thought it was going to be. I felt like I had higher hopes, and the day was kind of weird, but I definitely enjoyed it. I definitely felt like I had been waiting for that day my whole life. It was definitely a sense of accomplishment, though, because my grandma was able to fly out from Mexico. So just seeing her after I walked was just amazing. I was like, oh my God, it was all worth it. Like, this is the moment right here.
All right, backing up a little bit. Did you drink at the Tropicana Garage?
I did.
I did too. And,
I mean, how could you not?
Right.
Everybody
So
does.
for people that are listening that don't know, like when you graduate at UNLV, I'm guessing it's tradition because everybody did it.
I think so too.
It's a tradition to drink, like have a toast or whatever on top of the Tropicana Garage. You know, get a little faded before you go into your pregame your graduation. So I was pretty faded. I'm not gonna lie to you. Me and my buddy ended up just drinking 2 bottles of champagne to ourselves. So it was just like I was on a different level. And it was like 8 a.m.
Oh, mine was at 4, but I got there late, so I only had about 20 minutes to pound as many drinks as I could. Wow. It felt like a movie though. It was really cool just being around people that are accomplishing the same thing you are, and we're all feeling the same thing.
Yeah, it's crazy because like you're literally walking down and you're saying, oh my God, you're graduating too.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you're graduating too. But it was cool. It was so fun for me. Pardon me. Yeah, it was probably one of the biggest days of my life because to me I struggled just to finish school because I was working full time, and just the stuff I had to go through just to finish school. Like, it probably took me 7 years to get a bachelor's.
It took me 6.
Yeah, see, so, like, I was like, it's very long overdue, and I got really emotional. Like, I was, like, inside. It didn't hit me till I was standing there in, like, where we're waiting to go walk. Yeah. And I look into the crowd, and I see my family all, like, happy, and my mom started crying, and I'm like, damn it. Aww. Why'd you cry? But, yeah, that's how it was for me. So, okay, so you graduated from UNLV Hospitality. You did your wedding career. What was next? What do you do now? Or
this crazy thing happened. I was happy at my job. I was there for 2 years. I was like, this is a job I'm going to be at for probably another year or so until I can move up and be an actual wedding planner. I had it all set out, and I was still at UNLV at the time. I was finishing my last year. I come back from vacation from Disneyland, the happiest place on earth. And I get pulled to the side from a director, and they take me to this office and they tell me, unfortunately, your job has been terminated and this is your last day.
Holy shit, out of nowhere?
It was and wasn't out of nowhere. They kind of had announced that they were doing mass layoffs, and they did 2 rounds. And in the first round, a lot of people got laid off, and I wasn't one of them. So I thought maybe I was safe. But I was wrong. I came back and they told me that my job was eliminated and it didn't exist anymore, and I had to pack up my stuff and leave. And just like that, I had to say goodbye, and I packed up my desk and I went home, and I was like, what just happened? It was really crazy. That happened in May of 2019. So then I found a new job off the strip at a convention planning company in Henderson, right by where I lived. And I thought, this is it. Okay, maybe I'm not meant for weddings. Maybe I'm just meant for just general events here in Vegas. And I was working there for a few months, and I absolutely hated it.
Oh man, different environment, but
such different environment. The management was horrible.
Yeah, it's usually management that does it sometimes.
Yes, management there was really bad, to the point where I only lasted about 3 months, and I started looking, and I wanted to go back to Aria. I was like, I have to go back to Aria. I've been there for years. They have to take me back. So I looked, and I finally got a job in the convention sales department as an admin. And I was like, okay, this is it. It was my first kind of, I want to say, big girl job, because the pay was good. I had to wear professional business attire.
I think I remember that. I ate with you in lunch one time, and you're like dressed up.
Yeah, it was like, I was like, oh my God, this is a big deal. I have to wear professional attire. And they worked with me because I told them, I was like, I'm in my last semester of college. Like, please just work with me. Like, this would be perfect. They said yes. I was like, okay, cool. I was finally starting to get the hang of it. I was like, okay, this is life after college. I'm going to be here for a while, but I wasn't really happy. Like, I didn't really like it as much as being at Gabardo or being at the wedding chapel. And then next thing you know, 2020 comes right around the corner.
Boom. Hits all of us. It hit all of us.
Yes, all of us. And I was out of a job. I mean, we all were out of job. And that's kind of when I just started thinking, I'm like, what do I want to do with my life? Like, I just graduated. I mean, I do have this job, but do I even like this job? I mean, it pays the bills. And something that I've always told myself is I don't want to have a job where I'm not happy. Like, they always say, once you love what you do, you don't work a day in your life. I always wanted that to be me. And I always felt like that was never me, because I never liked what I did. Even if I did, I didn't feel like it fulfilled me to the point where I said, oh, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. So I just I was unemployed for most of the year until after probably like 5 months of being on unemployment. I was like, okay, I got to do something with my life. I can't just sit around and get paid every week for doing nothing. I mean, I know the whole world is doing it, but I feel so out of my element. I went from being a full-time student, full-time worker, to doing absolutely nothing all day. And it felt weird.
Like, it felt like, I don't want to put words in your mouth, and you can agree with it or not, but did you feel like you didn't have like a purpose?
Yes, I was like, what am I living for? I'm not waking up every day, and I get to, at first, the first 2 weeks were amazing. I was like, I get to wake up every day and do nothing if I want to. But then after 5 months, you're like, what are you doing?
Yeah, 5
like,
months.
And it was hard because it's something that obviously I didn't choose. It was just, it happened. It happened to all of us. So I couldn't really sit there and complain because everybody else was going through it. Everybody was going through a hard time. So, but I wanted to do something. I was like, okay, maybe I can start something. Maybe I can like have a little like side business, make like arts and crafts or something. I really did think about doing that. And that's kind of where the ball started to roll to where I am today. Just a little small thought of, let me just start selling something. And then, okay, I'm like, okay, what can I sell? And ever since I was younger, everybody knows this, but like, I love sugar skulls. That's my thing.
So you have a tattoo, right?
Yes.
And is that what like it comes from? Because your love for sugar skulls?
So I people ask me all the time, they're like, what is it about sugar skulls that you love? And I honestly say the same thing, which is, I don't know. One day I was just a little girl and I saw a sugar skull and I said, I resonate with that. I see myself in that. I think it's beautiful. I think it represents my culture. I think that anybody that sees that would think about me, just because that's what I would see. I would see that and I'm like, that's me right there. And I just started to collect them little by little when I was little. And then one day I said, I'm going to get a sugar skull tattoo one day. And I did. And ever since then, it just kind of became like my thing.
I remember last time I spoke to you about tattoos, like you said that your dad was going to kill you.
Oh, he did. Well, he almost did. Now he has a tattoo.
Isn't he tatted?
Oh, I know. He almost murdered me for getting a tattoo. And now at 49 years old, this man got his first tattoo and got half a sleeve all in one session. I was like,
you probably opened his eyes a little bit.
I did, which is really cool.
Because I think, like, although he was probably hating, like, oh, my daughter got a tattoo, like, I need to beat her ass. And then he's like, it's kind of cool. Like,
well, he would always say, like, I don't have any tattoos. So where did you get the idea that you could? And I was like, well, this is who I am. And he's like, no, tattoos are bad. You can't donate blood.
He said that?
He said that I couldn't donate blood, which is not true. You can still donate blood.
After a while, though, right?
I think so. I don't know. The point is, like, I feel like he was just making up excuses. He didn't want me to have any. And especially something so big and, like,
that's visible. Such a cool story. Like, he tells you no, and then one day he just goes
he's like, hey, look what I'm doing. And he FaceTimed me. And I was like, are you getting a tattoo? And he's like, yeah.
How does your mom feel about that? She doesn't really care.
She doesn't really care. She would never get one. She's a little baby about it. But so I've always had this love for sugar skulls. And I always said, I was like, okay, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do something for me. And I'm going to do something to brand myself. Like, who am I? I want people to look at something and think that's Daniela. So I was like, okay, I have to incorporate sugar skulls in some sort of way. And I was thinking, I was like, what do I do? Should I make like resin ashtrays or just something with a sugar skull? And one day I was getting my lashes done with my lash artist who I'd been going to for about 3 years. And I was telling her this. I was like, I want to start something. Like, I don't know. I feel like I need a purpose right now. And she's like, why don't you do lashes? And we had already kind of talked about it before, but I was like, me do lashes? I was like, no, like, I can't do that. And she's like, well, why not? I was like, well, because before, when you first asked me, I had a full-time job. I was in school. I was a college student. I was trying to have a social life. I would have had to drop everything to start a business. And at that time, it just wasn't right for me.
It's kind of like far-fetched. Would you
like,
say?
I felt like I would be risking a lot. Like, I'd be risking my really good paying 9-to-5 job to start a business. And that scared me. So she said, well, what's stopping you right now? What are you doing right now? And I was like, you know what? You're right. I was like, I'm doing absolutely nothing right now. I have nothing to lose. I have nothing telling me, no, you can't do this. Like, I can and I will. And I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to do it. I think I'm going to start my own lash business, and I think I'm going to brand it with like sugar skulls, and I'm going to be unique because there's no other business in this city that has sugar skulls incorporated into the brand, and people are going to look at that and know that that's me, right?
Yeah, it's super good. That's I think it's like a really good marketing choice, because that's the first thing that people like go for, like band-aids, for example. Like, you could get a bandage like to stop your bleeding, but like your first reaction is going to be to call it a band-aid because that's the brand, right? So it's like I get where you went by that. Like, every time somebody sees a sugar skull, I want them to think about me. So that's a really good way to do it.
Yeah.
So you went to, how do you call it? Like cosmetology school?
It would be, yeah, I guess it's cosmetology school, but
esthetician.
I'm an esthetician. So I was an estiology.
Estiology.
I know there's all
the
this
study of
aesthetics.
Of aesthetics.
Which is the study of skin.
Okay.
So I took a course, and just to see if I liked it, because I knew if I wanted to start my business, I would have to get a license.
Right.
And getting a license meant going back to school, which
did
not sound fun after 6 years of college. So I got certified just to kind of practice on a dummy to see if I was even good at it, because I was like, I'm not going to go for something if I don't feel like it's calling my name when I'm actually doing it. So I practiced a little bit, and I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to do it. I think I'm going to go back to school. And my parents' reactions were like, you're going to do what? They're like, what? I was like, yeah, you know what? I think I'm going to go for it, because why not? We're in the middle of a pandemic. I have nothing to do. I have nothing to lose at this point, but I just have more things to gain, more knowledge. So I signed up and I went to school again. Was
it difficult?
Yes and no.
Okay, so let me rephrase that. Was it as difficult as going to college at a university and working full time?
No, it was not. Esthetician school was completely not what I thought it was going to be.
It's more like hands-on?
It's more hands-on, and I obviously did 6 years of college, so I was very structured on like take notes and take a test and do this and just like always have a notepad. And esthetician school was nothing like that. You do what's called theory for the first month, which is all the book work. You are in the same classroom. You learn about anatomy. You learn about electrician. You learn about chemistry. You learn about a lot of things that you really think that you would never need to know, but they're important. So I learned a lot of things about just the human body that honestly is really helpful to know, because I feel like there's a lot of things that I learned that I was like, wow, I feel like everybody should know about this. Just like even the human body, like anatomy, it's crazy what you can learn about what muscles do to you. And we had to learn that. And then even like the electricity chapter, I was like, why do I need to learn? Yeah, I was like, why do I need to learn about electricity? I'm going to do facials and lashes. They're like, well, to do facials, you need to use machines. And to use a machine, you need to know what a volt is, what a watt is, what a current is. I was like, what? What did I sign up for? So it wasn't what I thought it was going to be, but it definitely wasn't as hard as UNLV. I'll say that. It was a lot of leisure time for sure.
Okay, so being that we are talking about like UNLV, comparing it or whatever, how, for somebody that's probably listening that wants to get into that field of going to study aesthetics and be an esthetician like you, how much would that be, and how do you start that?
So I went to Aveda, which is actually right by school on Eastern and Trop, and I actually toured a few schools before that, and it was around the same estimate. It's obviously not as expensive to go as going to UNLV, but the range that I would give it starts at around 12,000 up to 15,000.
Okay.
I didn't really see anything more than that, and that's just here in like the city of Las Vegas. So that's about how much it is, and it's only a 5-month program. You just have to complete 600 hours.
600 hours.
10 hours a day.
10 hours a day.
10-hour days, 3 days a week. It was at first it took some adjustment. I was there from 8:30 to 7 p.m.
Wow.
For 3 days of the week. And it was...
How was it? Because it was mostly women there going to that, right? How was it being around all these women?
Oh, my God.
It's a lot of characters, I bet. It was
very interesting. There's a lot of personalities and a lot of opinions, a lot of different mindsets. And at first, everybody's like all buddy-buddy and like, oh, yeah, we're going to be great friends. But... you're with these girls for 10 hours a day. You're with these girls for a total of 600 hours in 5 months. That's a lot of time. There's bound to something to happen.
Yeah.
And things did happen. A lot of drama happened. A lot of fights happened. A lot of confrontation. A lot of pettiness. A lot of snarky comments. And it was a lot. I think the personalities, like the students, were probably one of the hardest things that I had to confront being at school. And it's kind of crazy because I'm there to learn. You're there to just get your license. You're not there to make friends, but you're there for 10 hours. So, I mean, you either like someone or you don't like someone. And then if you don't, you can feel it.
Damn.
Yeah.
So I can't even imagine that. But, okay, so being that we're on that, how would you say that networking, how is networking important into your I would say side of the field?
So a lot of the girls that I met there are, we all exchanged ideas. We all are kind of our own support system because we all started at the same time. It was important, at least to me, to try to stay like not be in the fights. That didn't happen though, but I really wanted to try and just be on good terms with everyone for the sake of, just like you said, networking, because I'm like, you never know. Like they told us at school, you're potentially sitting right next to your next business partner, your next client, all those things. And it's true. I met a lot of great people that I did consider opening up like a studio with. So it was really cool to meet them, but it was hard, but I think at the end of the day, all of us really do want the best for our businesses. We're all there for the same exact reason. We all want to be our own business owners. And, I saw a lot of girls form a lot of great bonds. And I formed my bonds too. So.
Okay, that's awesome. So being that earlier I asked you and you answered that most of the people that you met in the university are kind of your clients.
Mm-hmm, they
so
are.
With that being said, like how do you get new clients, or how do you market yourself to get new clients, or how can people reach out to you to book you?
So that's actually one of the hardest things about opening up your own business, especially as a lash artist, because there are a million lash artists here in Las Vegas, and they tell you that in school. They'll say this city is saturated with people that are doing the same exact thing that you're doing. So it was hard, but what I learned is just, that's why I feel like my branding was important to me, because I was like, okay, what's going to set me aside from this lash artist? Because it's true. Like, why should they go to me when they could go to her? And I thought, okay, well, what's different about me is my brand. Like, my brand is so unique. And so when I started my Instagram, I was really promoting like the sugar skulls, and I was trying to stick with a theme. That way when people think about me, they think about my profile. And honestly, word of mouth is the best way to market your business. So just
do really good on a client and they'll tell somebody else.
Yeah, so you start off by just, doing your friends, and then your friends will tell their friends. And that's honestly how I get new clientele. Majority of my clientele is referrals, which is amazing because that means that my people are really pleased with my work and that they're even like talking about it to other people. And that's how I get more clientele. That's kind of how it started in the beginning. I had to just keep posting and just keep praying that like my profile would get out there, or word of mouth. And then things did change along the way. Now that I did graduate school, I am at a boutique. So being at an actual studio has definitely helped my clientele, and that's how I'm getting all these new clients, actually.
Well, that's great to hear. But, like, okay, this question, I feel like it's going to be a really good topic to talk about, because there's people that hate talking to people. So being that, like, if you get a referral in, and you don't know them, is it awkward to like work with them for the first time, or like
no.
do you like small talk, or like, or are you really good at it?
You know, when I first told one of my close friends that I was gonna do lashes, she said, "Oh, that's the perfect job for you because you love lashes and you love talking." And it's true. I feel fortunate enough that I like small talk. I'm not really shy, and I feel like I try to make my clients feel as comfortable as possible, and the way you can do that is just by being personable with them. So if I have a new client and I don't know absolutely anything about them, whether they look 18 or I have a 40-year-old client, I will treat them the same. They'll sit in my chair and I'll just ask them, I'll be like, "Oh, so how did you hear about me? How long have you lived in Vegas?" And I love small talk. I feel like that's a good way to kind of get the client to make them feel comfortable. Like, okay, I trust this person. And that's very important to me. So small talk, it's easy. I got it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you're doing really well in this podcast right now, because like you're like super loose, and you just like your conversational tone is just like really good. Okay, so one thing I did want to ask you is like, okay, so how close do you end up being with that person that's your client?
Oh my God. I feel like all of my clients are like my best friends.
Okay.
And that's how it happened with my lash artist. She, as the years went on, at first she was just my lash artist. And then it felt like she was my therapist because I would tell her everything. I would see her every 2 weeks.
It's funny you say that. Because whenever somebody has like a secret to tell me, I'm like, just know that I'm gonna tell 2 other people. And then they're like, who? I'm like, well, my girl. I have to tell my girlfriend everything, right? And they're like, all right, who's the other person? I'm like, my barber. Like, so I'm like, bro, like dude, like, when you say he's like your therapist, dude, like I go to my barber and I'm just like shooting the shit, telling him what's going on in my life. And he's just sitting there, and like sometimes he doesn't even have to say anything. I'm like, bro, just listen, just listen to me.
I just feel like when you see someone so often, you're like, how can I not tell you what's going on in my life?
Yeah.
Like at that point,
especially when they're making you look good. So
I know. I'm like, I'm here to make you look good and make you feel good on the inside too.
Right. So. Yeah. So that's how I feel like people that like work in that industry, like they're kind of like therapists in a way. Mm-hmm. And then one thing about being in the barbershop, I mean, I'm not going to talk about what we talk about in the barbershop because that's rule number 1. And, but yeah, like we go there, like usually like if we're not talking with everybody there, like I'm talking to my barber and I'm telling him what's up with my life. And he has experience too. So he'll tell me like, oh, I had a client that came in and he told me the same thing, and this is how he handled it, or this is how I handled it. And we're just, talking like men. And every now and then, like, we're just talking shit to everybody, like, in the barbershop, you know what I mean? So that's why, like, it's such a good, it's kind of like such a sacred place. That's why you're not, like, another rule is, like, don't take your girlfriend to the barbershop, because then we can't talk about everything. But I did break the rule once, and I brought my girlfriend in, and then everybody was just, like, asking her questions. And I'm like, all right, I guess it was a good topic to talk about, like bringing my girl in. So they didn't really trip about that. But that is one of the rules. You're not supposed to bring your girlfriend to the barbershop.
Yeah, I mean, I would be a little upset if my girl brought her boyfriend to her lash session.
No more cheese.
What are we going to talk about now?
Another cheeseman,
huh? Yeah. No cheeseman there.
So small talk you're good at. Okay, this is a good question for me especially. So are you just like focused on lashes, or do you skincare?
So at the moment, when I first started school, I was like, I'm only going to do lashes. That's all I'm here for. But they teach you so many things at school. They teach us facials. They teach us waxing, tweezing, brow tinting. And at first I was like, I don't need to learn all this. I'm just here to get my license. Like, this is dumb.
I'm here so I won't get fined.
Yes. So after obviously a few months of doing facials all the time, you learn to like it. And I did start to develop a interest in facials, and I want to offer them. I'm just trying, but I'm trying to hold back on that. I want to really focus on lashing and grow my clientele. So that way when my clientele is big enough, when I introduce something else, I have enough clientele to be like, hey, I think you should try this. And I do have quite a few girls that ask me, when are you going to do facials? And I'm just like, give me some time. Let me just
you want to do a good job at it. You don't want to just like half-ass it.
No,
kind of like a pro at it.
I want to master what I'm doing right now before I even try to master something else, because I just feel like juggling 2 things at once when you're on top of being a small business owner and you're new to this and you're on your own, it's a lot. So props to all the girls that are doing multiple things at once. And that facial equipment can be expensive.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that I'm kind of holding back on. I'm like, okay, if I want to do facials, I got to save up for some equipment. So let me just hustle with the lashing to, save up some cash so then I can buy the fancy machines to offer facials.
Okay, cool. So with that being said, if somebody like a man as myself wants to get work done on like our faces, what do you recommend? Like should men come to estheticians for skincare help?
Oh, absolutely. I feel like gender does not matter. I gave facials to men at school. Awesome. A lot of men would go and get facials done, and honestly, skin is skin. Like people want to look good, and I feel like whether you're a woman or a man, like you should definitely experience a facial at least once in your life, because being at school, I learned so many things about things that, a regular human being is doing wrong every day because they're simply not educated. And I was like, wow, like I feel like everyone needs to get a facial. Yeah,
I mean, that's one thing I just need to do it. I need to start like getting to, a habit of, I get a haircut every so often. I just need to get a facial every so often.
Exactly. Pause. Even if it's like every 3 weeks.
Right. So I'm thinking about that, but like it's kind of like dipping your toe into the pool of like, before I used to not believe in getting petties because I'm a man, I'm not supposed to get a petty, right? So but then I started getting petties and I'm like, yo, like
this is life changing.
Like life one like it feels so fucking good when they start rubbing that like sugar stuff on you. Yes. And I'm just like on the massage chair just chilling.
Have you ever had the cheese grater done on you?
Yes, I had to, but
tickles.
It tickles so much in the bottom of your foot and stuff. Oh my god!
When you see all the dead skin come off, you're like, oh my god.
Yeah,
that was there.
So just imagine me being like a man and not having a petty like for years. So the first time I did it, I'm like, yo, this is really bad. My feet are really bad, and I could tell the people were just talking shit in their language or whatever. But the more I went, like I would take my girl every time I went. Well, obviously every time I took my girl, like I went and I got my petties. So one thing that you would tell the guys listening or watching, what like, do you recommend them to get petties?
Men, go get a petty right now. You need one. Even if you think you don't, you need one. Like there is no shame in getting those toenails clipped. Yeah. Because feet are not pretty, but you can make them look pretty.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and women look at that. I promise you, women look at men's feet. So when a man gets a petty, respect.
Yeah, exactly. You can't be wearing your shoes in the pool. Eventually, you're gonna have to take them off, right? So we gotta take care of our toes and stuff. But it's funny, man. Like I take my girl to the nail salon, and like the ladies there, they don't even ask me what color to put on my girl because I choose the color. They're like, "What flavor you want?"
Oh, I like
because I like toes.
Oh, I like that.
But yeah, that's I take my girl to get petties. I get petties as well. I like French tips. French tip is just looks so
those.
Yeah,
I feel like it looks so
good.
Classy. Very classy.
So if you don't know what the fuck that is when like the tip of the toe or even nails is just like white. It could be something else too, right?
Yeah, you can do something else. It's just it's typical for it
white.
To be white.
Okay, yeah. So there we go. So this is one of the questions I actually got from one of my subscribers. Being that we did talk about barbers and we talked about lash ladies, what would you do if you had a man and he cheated on you with your lash lady?
Oh my god, I don't even. That would be weird because my lash lady knows all of my secrets. And
damn,
she knows all the dirt.
She's a snake, huh?
Yeah, so that would mean she was betraying me because I tell her everything about him. So the fact that she still would do it after all the shit I told her, that's not a friend right there.
That's a snake.
That's a snake. I don't think I could ever go to her again.
Vice versa. They asked me the same thing, like, what would you do if your girl cheated on you with your barber? And I'm like, bro, I would kill myself. Bro, like, dude, why would you, like, the thought just give me the chills. I'm like, bro, like women would do that, though.
Yeah.
And what's even worse, like, I put more blame on the barber if they do that.
Yeah, see.
Because they know everything about you. They're your homie. Like, you're cutting your hair and shit.
That's what I'm saying.
And then they ruin it over some.
I'm like, you were supposed to be on my team.
Right.
Like, you were on my team. What is he doing?
See? All right. Well, is there anything else that you want to talk about your business or maybe anything that you want to know about yourself?
I just really want to push to like really advocate to people that it's never too late to do what you want to do, because I'm a first generation student, so college was pressured on me. Right. It was never a question whether I wanted to go or not. It was, I was going to go. So ever since I was younger, I knew I liked the beauty industry, and I used to be into nails and I used to be into makeup, but I never thought I could make a career out of that. I thought, no, I have to go to college and study business or marketing or some boring degree. And I ended up choosing hospitality because I thought it sounded the most fun. But in reality, even when I was in school, when I was working at the chapel, or just in any of my jobs, I hated it. I was like, this is not fun. I don't like this. I'm just doing this because it's within my degree, and my degree is because of my parents. I obviously did want to get a degree, but
just to feel accomplished.
Yeah,
right?
To feel accomplished and to give them something that I know that they really wanted. But I didn't feel fulfilled. And when I thought about starting my own lash business, I was like, I can't do that. I can't just start over. Like, I have to have a degree and, have a 9-to-5, because that's what people make it seem like you have to do in life. You have to have a 9-to-5 and have weekends off, and it's very structured. And that's how I lived most of my life, a very structured life. I worked the same days. I was off the same days. And I didn't like that. I was like, this isn't me. I want a job where I can have pink hair if I want to have pink hair, or I can have my nose pierced, which actually was a really big deal to me. I just got my nose pierced probably a year ago, and I've been wanting it pierced for years, but I could never do it because I had a really boring job at the Aria. So I just want to tell the people that are listening to really just follow your dreams. It's never too late. Even because I felt like it was too late. I was like, I can't start over. I just finished college. I'm supposed to be working this 9-to-5 like my mom told me I should be. But now that I have my own business and I make my own hours, I feel so much happier. It is a struggle in the beginning. Obviously, everyone struggles to get clientele and make money, and it is a risk. You are risking a lot, but it's worth it at the end. And if it's what's going to make you happy, then go for it. I don't see why not. Like, go get that degree, go chase your dreams, because at the end of the day, it's your life. So,
wow, that was probably the best way to end it. And with that, thank you for joining us at the RaulyKnows podcast. Today we had Daniela, aka the CEO of Sugar Lash Boutique, and I'll put all the info on the comment section below. What else do you want to say?
Thanks for having me on, and congratulations, because you're also doing what I'm doing, which is like doing something that you absolutely love. Yeah. I'm proud of you for that.
I appreciate you. So thank you so much for joining us today, and we'll see you guys in the comment section.